Tomorrow's your test, guys. All right. A survey of 1,502 U.S. adults found that 78% of them favored government policies requiring better fuel efficiency for vehicles. That 1,502, start there. Are there more adults? Yes. So that's a sample of adults. And we could say that they're all U.S. adults, possible responses from U.S. adults, and our sample is, somehow I have a 3 in there. 1,502 U.S. adult responses. Okay, what is this? 78% favor government policies requiring better fuel. That is a descriptive statistic. That's a statistic versus a parameter. Why is it a statistic, not a parameter? It's good. It's from a sample. And absolutely, this is your descriptive part. That's just describing some information out there. 38 nurses, and if it helps you write the number, 38 nurses working in the San Francisco area were surveyed concerning their opinions of managed health care. 38 nurses. Do you think there's more nurses in the San Francisco area? So that's a sample from your San Francisco area. Not all nurses in the United States. That's specifically from San Francisco. Your population is all nurses in San Francisco. A survey of 2,311 U.S. adults found that 84% have seen a healthcare provider at least once in the past year. So start with this. Are there more adults?
Yes.
So that's your sample taken from all possible adults in the U.S. This is a descriptive statistic about the sample that you collected. Of these 2,311 people, 84% of them said yes, they did see one in the last year. So now, if you had to make an inference about this, they gave us a descriptive statistic. They gave us the sample. We figured out the population. What would you infer about this, Sarah?
That the majority of people go see a healthcare provider.
Yeah, at least once a year, right? People are health. I would say the same like Sarah. They're more health conscious. The 84% is a good chunk of people that are going to see their health provider, unless it's for a bad thing. But they're taking care of their health is what's a good thing. A survey of 186 U.S. adults ages 25 to 29. This is a specific group. So this is your sample. Your population is all U.S. adults aged 25 to 29. And your statistics is 76 have read a book in the past 12 months. Okay. And that's a fairly nice number, too. People are reading. So that's more than half of people. Parameter or statistics. In 2012, Major League Baseball teams spent $1 billion on player salaries. Parameter. Why is it a parameter? It's all Major League. Even though they didn't say all, it's implied. It's every baseball team there. So that piece of information, all those $1 trillion that they spend on salaries, is a parameter. Even though we call it a statistic, it's still a parameter because it's based on a population. Statistic is kind of like a catch-all. If you said to somebody, oh, this is a parameter, and let me tell you this parameter about this population, they would look at you and say, what? But we know that it's a parameter. In a recent study of math majors at a university, 10 students were minoring in physics. Why is this a parameter? Sarah?
Because it's like all math majors at one university.
Good. It's like all the math majors at this one university. So therefore, this piece of information that they gave us is called a parameter because it's about a population. Which part of the survey in example 3 represents when we talked about that, the statistic part? We talked about that. Qualitative versus quantitative. Remember, qualitative has the word quality. Quantitative has the word quantity. This guy deals with the numbers. Quantity. The ages of a sample of 350 employees. Quantitative. What level of measurement are ages? Nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio. Ratio. The ages. Been giving them in ages. Can I be twice as old as someone else? Hopefully not, but yes, I could. The revenues of companies on the Fortune 500 list. What are revenues? Money. So can one company make twice as much as another? Half as much? 1.2 times as much? Quantitative, that would be ratio as well. What about the names of the companies on the 500 list? Nominal. Good. Good. It's an example. Whoa. I have no idea. It's still happening. I just aligned the thing. This is always on this side of my board. That's really off now. Give me an example of interval. Anybody have a good example of interval? Temperature. What's another one?
Timestamp.
Timestamp. Good. How about the number of pages in your book? Ratio. How about the page number that you're on? Nominal. How about the soccer number on the back of your shirt? Nominal. How about the number of books on your desk? Ratio. How about the amount of money that you made at work today? For those of you that work, ratio. How about the number of hours that you work today? Ratio. So we're getting this? Okay. Level of measurements. I know we did these before when we were going over them, but we did, I don't know if you wrote them down, but if you did, all the better. The daily temperatures were listed for these places in California. This is interval. Interval says I can slightly tell the difference between, I have a difference between them, but I can't make a ratio out of it. I can't say one is twice as hot as another. Vehicle sizes for a sample of sedans: mini compact, subcompact, compact, mid-size, large. What are these doing? Going from smallest to largest. So we call this ordinal. It has some kind of order. They didn't tell me what. They didn't tell me like what's the weight of these things so I can figure them out. I just know there's some kind of order to this. What if I listed the weight of each one of these? What would the weight be? Ratio. Good. The 4 departments of a printing company are listed. Nominal. Okay, what if I say the 4 departments of a printing company are listed by the top sales? Ordinal, because then they have an order. What if I say what their sales revenues? Ratio. Good. The total compensation in millions of the top 10 CEOs of the U.S. are listed. Ratio. Millions of dollars these people make. Millions. Must be nice. Okay, observational or experimental. Researchers conduct a study to determine whether a drug used to treat hypothyroidism works better when taken in the morning or when taken at bedtime. To perform the study, 90 patients are given the pill in the morning and 1 pill in the evening, one containing the drug, another containing a placebo. After 3 months, the patients are instructed to switch pills. Experiment. Where is their control?
The subjects are given pills.
Well, they're also given the pill and the placebo. So they're given a pill and a placebo. They want to see, generally, to treat hypothyroidism, it's a timed thing. It's supposed to make you, like, you get very tired for hypothyroidism and everything. So if you take it in the morning, do you last your day better, or is it better to take it at night? So that's what they're testing. They're testing the fact, are they taking it in the morning or at night? That's what they're testing. So they can use one group and then switch them. So now if I'm in your survey group and I take the pill in the morning and I take the pill in the evening, I don't know where pill is good or not. I just know that they're giving me these pills to take. So now I tell them, okay, well, I did feel a little bit sluggish during the day, but I slept better at night. So these are the things they want to see. And if I'm a little less sluggish during the day, maybe my pill in the morning was the good pill. I don't know that. They know. A weird way to do it, but it's within itself. It's a control. Researchers conduct a study to determine the number of falls women had during pregnancy. To perform the study, researchers contacted 3,997 women who had recently given birth and asked them how many times they fell during their pregnancy. Do they do anything to influence that? Nope, this is observational. How would they get this information? Ask them, so they have to give them some kind of survey, right? They would do some kind of a sampling survey out there. Okay, using random, what happens when you're pregnant? Your center, your balance is always off. Because your center of gravity is off. My first pregnancy, I did fall.
Not funny.
It's not funny. It's not funny. Yeah, your whole center is off, and I exercise, so I was always like kind of toppling over. But yeah, it's a little different. When they ask you to hold your foot up, you're kind of like wobbling. Don't forget, all your weight is sitting in one spot. It's not like it's dispersed around you. Okay, using random digit dialing, researchers asked 1,003 U.S. adults their plans on working during retirement using random digit dialing. So they want to know, what way did we collect this sample? Right there, a set of random numbers. Okay? So we can just call this, you can call this simple random sampling, you can call this random sampling. I don't care which one you call it. Random sampling is fine. Look at how off my board is. Yeah. And I just reset it. Okay, and I'm not leaning on it. Hi, I just did it. This board is terrible. But, oh my goodness.
Oh, I don't think it's right. Press the wrong button.
Yeah, it's just because my board is off.
Oh, catch.
Yeah, but I'm catching, my board is off. Again.
What, Jake? What? Yeah, but you're about to, so what?
Sabrina, did you sign in?
There's no pen over there.
So grab yourself a pen and sign in. Because what happens is I already took attendance. If I don't put you in as late, then you get marked as absent, and I need a record that you were an absent.
You got it from right here.
On my thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see if we can keep on going with this. Hopefully I can. For the time being. Okay, a pregnancy study in, am I up to this one? No. Okay, thank you. A student asked 18 friends to participate in a psychology experiment. This is convenience. You asked your friends. A pregnancy study in Cebu, Philippines randomly selected 33 communities from the Cebu metropolitan area, then interviewed all pregnant women in these communities. Cluster. This is cluster. There are more than this communities in Cebu, Philippines, but they randomly selected 33 of them, and they interviewed everybody. That's a cluster. What could I do differently to make this be a stratified? How can I stratify this?
If there was something similar.
Well, okay, I clustered this. I took, like, say there's 100 communities in Cebu. Say there's 100 communities, and I took 33 of them at random, and I interviewed all of those people in those communities. How could I make this a stratified sampling?
One, like, in every 5 or something.
Well, that's systematic, but I need to take a random group from every community, make it stratified. In a stratified, every community has to be represented. In a cluster, think of your cluster of stars. There's other stars out there, but I just want this group of stars. And then I'm going to go over here and take this group of stars. That's a cluster. That's the hardest one to make a difference between. 25 students were randomly selected from each grade level at a high school, and their habits are studied. Stratified. We didn't do 26.
Why is it stratified?
Because from this, you took some from every grade. So you hit every grade level was represented in this. Think of a stratified rock. A stratified rock has layers of sand, of gravel, of granite, whatever, and then it's compressed. Every part is represented. Everything is done at random. Random is going to be in everything.
So the fact that it's high school.
No, the fact that they took some from each level. Guys, you're going to see this tomorrow. I guarantee you.
Wait, so is stratified like that can't be biased?
Stratified is not biased because see this word randomly selected? You still, so say, okay, this is my school. I need to select 25 kids from each grade level at random.
Bless you.
So bless you. So remember the thing we read yesterday? How they did this, how they mixed in a random with a stratified, or whatever it is they mixed together? So if I have to take 25 kids from each grade level, that means somehow I have to get those 25. I just can't say, well, I'll take, there's 25 seniors, I'll take you 25 seniors. That's not random. Random is, maybe I just go through and say, number them from 1 to 1,000 in each grade level. I don't even know. Well, whatever your number, and I do a random number generator to get them. Somehow I have to be randomly selecting those 25 kids, but I need 25 from each grade level to put together. And look at that. Do you guys have student council still? Barely. We used to have a very strong student council, and they would take a certain amount of kids from each grade level to represent your school. So you voted on them. They were supposedly, randomly they were voted on, but they could be selected at random to represent your school. So that would make sure you had every grade represented. I passed 26. 26 says law enforcement officials stop and check the driver of every third vehicle when they're doing their spot checks. This is systematic. This is no bias here. So when someone says, yeah, he pulled me over because I had a hat on, he pulled me over, and they're going to say, sorry, I took every third car, and that you're the third car. A journalist interviews 154 people waiting at an airport baggage claim and asks them how they feel about air travel. If you're waiting at your airport, do you have a little stronger feelings than somebody who doesn't even travel very much? Convenience. This is convenience. Has a little bias in there. Using the fifth row, can everybody do this?
What would be like the difference between just a random sample and then stabilized?
A random sample is a general term. Is if I was picking one person out of this population. Everybody has an equal chance of being selected. A simple random says, if I picked a sample of 5, then I threw them back in and picked another sample of 5. Generally, you sample more than one person. So that's why they keep going with the simple random sample, because they use a sample of 20, sample of 100. So they call it a simple random sample. If they just ask one person, that would be random, a random sample. That you get one person.
So simple is like group.
Yeah, and each group has the same chance of being selected. They have to come from the same population. I have to throw them back and then randomly select another 5.
Is random always just one person?
No, everything that you see here is always done at random. I randomly, even when I stratify, I have to get 25 people at random from each class. So the word random, you're going to see everywhere.
What the plain random sample is just if they take one person?
No, it's they take like through a number generator, or they assign the number and pick numbers that way. Phone digit dialing is random sampling. It's a program that they use to randomly go through and pick up numbers at random.
That's not stealing.
That that technically is because they can get the same amount of samples, but for you guys, I said just call it random sampling. Just call it random. I'm not hung up over the random sampling versus the simple. Plus, I think it should be opposite. I think the simple should be one and the random sampling should be the whole group of sampling, so just call it random sampling.
So like on the test, if you find say random.
Yep, random sampling.
Random.
Yeah, because everything else is done at random. Guys, come on. Okay. Oh, where was I? Okay, can everybody use the table to generate some random numbers? And you can use your calculator. If you want to know, the favorite spring break destination among 15,000 students at a university. Determine whether you take a census or you use a sampling. If you use the sampling, determine which sampling technique. Is this supposed to be 15,000 or 1,500? It says 15,000?
Yeah, 15,000.
15,000, that's a lot. Okay, so 15,000 at a student at a university. I guess that's kind of good. Would you use a census or would you use a sampling? In other words, would you ask every person of those 15,000 people? No, that'd be horrible to do, right? By the time you get that, spring break would be over. So now, how would you do this? How would you make sure you had a good random sampling?
Number generator.
A number generator would work great. So how would you do it, Sarah?
You would assign everybody a number and then do the slash thing.
Okay, and go through a generator somehow, pull that out. Could I assign everybody a number and then take out of 15,000, maybe I take every 100 person, and I get like 150 of these 1,500 people? Could I do that? I could do that. Could I do a cluster? Just do, say, all sophomores? Would that be good?
Oh,
No, why not? Because what? Maybe they don't go on spring break yet. They're still kind of new at this. By seniors, I'm sure every senior goes on a spring break by the time they're a senior. Or they go home and they work. You know, so it depends what's going on. So a cluster in this case might not be a good thing because you do want a random sampling from all your grade levels. So you kind of see the difference? Yeah? All right. No questions on this? Everybody's good?